What's up, everybody? It's your coach Jaron here with Forge. Today we're going to talk about how to know whether or not your training session is hard enough. Now, if you look through your program, we generally are training about 4 days a week. Some of you may be on a 3-day program, but in general, we lift about 4 days a week. Following the conjugate method, we have 2 days that are typically devoted to lifting heavier weights for lighter, lower amounts of volume, less overall sets and reps. And we have 2 days that are focused on lifting lighter weights for higher volumes, right? With this approach, our goal is never to train maximally. We're not going to burn the candle at both ends, go pedal to the metal, headbutt the bar, get super psyched up, go all out and pour everything that we've got into lifting the heaviest amount of weight possible. We're also never going to train minimally. That's for wusses. We're not going to do the least amount of work possible. We're not going to, come in and do one exercise and be done. We're not going to do the same exercise every single day. But our goal is always to train optimally. We need to do enough work with the right weight, the right number of times to get an optimal training response from that session. And so with this mentality, we're never looking at just one workout within the scope of itself, because your heavy lower body workout will affect your heavy upper body workout. The proximity within your heavy and your light lower body workouts are going to affect each other. Same thing with your upper body workouts. We're looking at your training plan as a whole. And so our goal over time is to, yes, obviously lift heavier weights and to do more work, but that is something that happens progressively with the entire program over a long period of time. And so when you're evaluating each of your training sessions, go into it more so with the mindset of what is my intent for today, right? On our heavy days, our intent is to lift heavy weights that are, within reason of what you can do technically for a specific number of sets and reps. And we want to execute them at the highest possible level of technical proficiency, right? We want to train our structure to be able to hold perfect positioning as we lift those heavy weights and to do it for an appropriate amount of volume. On our light days, our intent is force production and form perfection. So we are trying to move a sub-maximal weight with the maximal amount of intent, but we need to do it technically perfectly. The reason that those weights are light is so that you can ingrain proper motor patterns and do those things forcefully. We're teaching your body how to coordinate itself at both ends of that velocity spectrum. Can you hold position and move the weight when the stakes are the highest with the heaviest weights? And can you do the same thing when the speed is the highest and velocity becomes the challenge for maintaining proper technique, right? And so with this kind of a mindset, it allows you to go into each session accomplishing a particular intent, right? We're trying to do the right amount of work on the correct lifts to ensure progress. So our goal is optimal. And the way that you evaluate that is with how the numbers track over time, right? Or how your technique progresses over time. On a max effort day, if you jump 40 pounds heavier than you were supposed to and you got the weight up, but your technique sucked, then that's a fail. We did not accomplish our intent of moving a heavy load in a technically proficient way. And what we've actually done, even though we may have gotten more weight up, is we've ingrained poor technique. We've taught our body how to break form under stress. And where that ends up leading is that when the stakes become highest, you will default back to that bad technique and that bad pattern, which will either get you hurt or it will ultimately limit how much weight you can lift because we ingrained the wrong thing, right? On our lighter days, when we're focusing on speed and technique, if we go too heavy there, then we're still training the body to be slow. There's a certain velocity parameter that we're trying to stay within, so that way we're working on that force output. And so if we go too heavy there, then we're not doing speed work or we're not able to maintain technique, and that is a fail. With our assistance movements, right, the things that are designed to build up muscle tissue in the places where we're weak, if you're doing assistance movements where you're supposed to be focusing on the contraction, where you're supposed to be learning how to recruit muscles specifically and target specific muscle groups, if you're having to break your form in a way that just allows you to move a heavier load, we have failed. That does not accomplish the intent of those exercises. And so think about each of those different pieces of your program, and when you evaluate whether or not a session felt hard, think about this. Is our goal just to feel like we worked really hard? Is our goal to actually progress by doing an optimal amount of work in the places where we're the weakest, right? So think about that this week. Hope you learned something. If you have questions, let me know.